Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about Kambal, Council of Allocation. So, we got ourselves a 2-mana 2/3 here that punishes them for playing non-creatures. So, hey, and you gain 2 life. Now, I'll try to go through my thought process here. I was like, well, it looks like we are drain lifing, if you will. So, my first thought was, we're going to be gaining some life. So, that led me to the girls that gain us life. And I thought, well, since we're there, and we're already on that theme, I might as well do the Blood Artist too. Healer of the Pride is it's a stretch, but you know, she's a 2/3 for 4, but. And then I thought, well, let's double that life. So right then I was like, well, it looks like we're playing Lifegain. That's what we're doing. That's a thing. So the Runetail, once I found out that, well, Runetail is great in any white deck anyway, because you start off at 40 life. Even in the crappy online versions, you start off at 30. But anyway, I won't talk about that. So I was like, well, Runetail. And then what about things that also check, like the Philidar Sovereign? Boy, when this card came out, everybody was like, he's going to get banned in EDH. But you know what? A lot of times by the time that you cast him at six mana, I have played with Philidar Sovereign in a lot of decks. And I've never won because I have never upkeep. I win. It's never happened. Because he dies a lot, especially if you are. So I was like, well, we are playing Orzhov. Let's double the swamps and gain some life from Extort. Seems pretty neat. The Divinity of Pride is also a 5-mana 8/8 lifelink flying because we start off at 40. I was like, hey, we got a little thing going here. Let's gain some life with some Ivory Tower. The Warhammer strapped up to anything is fine, right? And then I was like, well, what about Celestial Convergence? You get 7 counters. Yeah, it's gonna. This card is fair to a fault because you play it. It literally does nothing for 7 turns. Now, there are cards that help that out, such as Thief of the Blood. So, if you manage to get the 1-2 punch there and you're at the highest life, yay. Now, put our boy Karlov in there. Karlov? Anyway, put him in there. Because it looks like we're going to be gaining some life. Like a substantial amount of life. That's why his little brother, the Pridemate's in there. And, of course, everybody's new favorite Lifegain card, the Crested Sunmare. Now, the Defiant Bloodlord led me down the... that was the thought process of, isn't there a card that does this? Wait a minute. There is. Sanguine Bond. And y'all know it is hard to play Sanguine Bond without Exquisite Blood. Now, yes, that is one of the more frowned upon combos. I get that. But let's face it, we're playing a Lifegain. It's not like we have a whole lot of win con here. So, And, you know, if we're playing with 2 enchantments, what are the likelihood that you're going to get the 2 enchantments out of a 100 card deck? Pretty good, actually. Especially if we, you know, maybe playing with a tutor or two. Because, you know, tutors, they go get the pieces that you need. Repeatable tutor, y'all saw it coming. Now, it says, all right, since I'm playing with those 2 enchantments, I might as well be playing with the Tainted Remedy. Now, Mother of Ruins is just good old-fashioned awesomeness, so that's why she's in there. Now, Cliffhaven Vampire, there again, but this is not point for point. It's a thing to remember here. It's when you gain life. So if you gain 5 life, everybody still just loses 1. Now, let's talk about Sarah Avatar. Now, y'all saw the blue-white Sarah Avatar deck that I did. This is not per se Sarah Avatar deck, but it is this is a real thing. Now, yeah, it's big. It has 0 abilities whatsoever. You cannot reanimate it, all that jazz. So I was like, well, at least let's gain some life when it comes into play. And then Angel of Condemnation says, well, let's make it come into play a lot. So it is possible, if you've got those 2 out, to, you know, pop it a couple times. Well, that led me to, well, what if we had the trio of homeboys, the Crypt Rats, the Thrashing Wampus, and the Pestilence Demon. Now, Spirit Link, of course, on any 3 of those makes them awesome, or Spirit Loop, or Vampiric Link, and then, that's right, I'm running a Singleton Black, well, of course I'm running a Singleton at TDH, damn it, Brian. Anyway, I'm running Black Ward to give one of my creatures pro black in the event that I get one of those pestilence style effects. Now, let's see what other kind of life gain. Oh yeah, almost forgot about the let's double our life. Now, to reverse damage, it is old card here, but still really good. A lot of people back in the day, we played around this card. I mean, but anymore, nobody plays around reverse damage because just nobody plays with it. And so many times you die to a 1 single damage source, a giant bonfire or comet storm or 1 huge ass creature, or, and you know, no, I got 3 white mana up. Think again. That's also kind of because of the rise of artifacts, and I mean, I would call the artifacts a 6 color, but quite frankly, if it was a color, it'd be more popular than all the other 5. But artifacts are a thing, and this prevents that. Hour did give us Oketra's Last Mercy. The only thing here that I'm not just out floored by this card is it'd be sweet if it was an instant. But this is another one of those things that it combos well with Felidar Sovereign. Because Felidar Sovereign, as long as you're at low life, people don't care about him. He's just a 4/6 dude. But once you cast this, hey, you may not need your lands to untap next turn. Yeah. Okie doke. As you saw, we don't have just a whole bunch of creatures. So the board wipe is strong because we've got to get rid of, you know, all of the problems. And spot removal. We have a little bit of spot removal with, I tried to use the Orzhov themed ones, you know, Unmake, Anguished Unmaking, and Utter End. Hour of Glory is, let's face it, we now have, what is it, 15, 20, 23 gods. And, you know, the scared. By the way, that little ink mark right there, I pulled this from my pre-release, and that's an ink mark actually on the card. Weird. But there's a bunch of gods out there. Even if not, it's an instant exile a creature. No ifs, ands, or buts. Exile that dude. Got a couple mana rock fixers. Got to have a disenchant. I forgot a tutor. Now, the last three cards here, you know, what Lifegain deck would be complete without a Storm Herd? This is obviously always going to be the top of your curve, and it's going to be nuts. Especially if you've got out one of the Soul Sisters. Now, double in life. Hey, if you've got the rocks, it's quadruple, and then the angelic chorus is, I don't know. This is a calculator deck, I'm pretty sure. Now, the Phyrexian Processor, you know, once you get up at a crazy high enough life, you can just, yeah, gaining life doesn't win you the game, and unfortunately, it is really bad in our format because general damage it is a thing. I don't care if you're at 1,000,000 life. If you take 21, you're gone. So that's kind of another thing that I guess makes it a little more fair. But the Processor being able to crank out a giant dude every turn, and hell, if you've got the Angelic Chorus, there's a very small window of time where it actually costs you something. Because if you throw it out there and you pay 20 life, and you spend 4 mana and tap it, and you get a 20/20, and you gain the 20 from that, I mean, your second activation, you're netting. So, anyway. And the last card I have is the Giant Shotgun of Doom. The life gain here is kind of nominal, but pay 50, deal 50. A lot of people are wanting to use this in the, I just did that deck the other day. What was it? It turns artifacts into artifact creatures and then gives them lifelink. It's beautiful. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys watching. Y'all let me know what you think. It's just a little fun life gain thing. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.